Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Imaginary, a new horror film from Lionsgate and Blumhouse, and from director Jeff Wadlow of Kick-Ass 2 Infamy, as well as Truth or Dare, and Fantasy Island, also Infamy. So not exactly the best track record in terms of delivering some quality and impactful horror films, or comic book fare. But this film focuses on Jessica, played by DeWanda Wise, who's most recently in Jurassic World, Dominion, and Harder They Fall. And I really like her as an actress, and here she's saddled with this woman who moves into her childhood home with her new husband and her stepdaughters, played by Tegan Burns from The Mighty Ducks show, and Piper Braun, who plays Little Alice, who finds a new imaginary friend, Chauncey the Bear, and things are complicated as we find out that maybe there's some dark elements in Jessica's past that are boiling up with this creepy imaginary bear. And this film is so frustrating because, first off, it feels so derivative of Coraline and Alice in Wonderland and so many other horror films and fantasy stories and stuff like that. It also feels extremely cliched because not only do we have creepy kid having a session with a therapist, psychiatrist scene, but we also have a crazy random expert for a random topic, this in case imaginary friends, explaining all the evil potential entities that could be there as imaginary friends. And you're just like, wow, they're really checking off all the boxes on the bingo card of these are horrible horror cliches. And it's all just this amalgamation of this hour and 45-minute film that I feel like you wait an hour and 25 minutes to really find the cool part of this movie, which is this imaginary world that's this dark, sinister, creepy Alice in Wonderland, Coraline-infused, twisted place with some interesting costuming and practical effects, to be perfectly honest. And it's just it takes you so long to get there, and it has pitfalls and false endings and just, random plot twists for the sake of shock value. And you also have a bunch of characters that are not very interesting. You have the father in this relationship, the husband, who's a non-character. You have this crazy lady next door, played by Betty Buckley, who's a legendary Broadway singer and performer, and you're just why is she in this movie? She doesn't feel very natural and feels very awkward. And you have these two daughters that one's an insufferable teenager and one is, your generic little cute girl who, dealing with imaginary friend. And even Jessica, there's some layers to what she's been through in terms of trauma and stuff like that. And this film tries to tackle big ideas of trauma and stuff like that, but I feel like it's trying to tackle too much, and it never digs deep enough for it to be meaningful or impactful in any way. There's a couple of moments of some darker comedy from Wadlow, and I'm maybe you should have leaned into that a little more, because those are some of the only moments where there's some fleeting enjoyment going on. And it's just so much setup. It takes so long to get to the point. It is creepy. There's definitely some a deep focus where you're seeing some elements of this silhouette creeping in the background. There's one particular sequence the trailer ruined in terms of a pull string on a teddy bear. I thought that was actually kind of fun, and it takes, like I mentioned, way too long into the movie for you to really get to some of the fun, creative things, because this film had a lot of potential to be a fun and creative horror flick, but instead it just decides to be overly familiar and lean into things that we've seen plenty of times in films like this, and it was pretty disappointing in that way. But those are my thoughts on Imaginary. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.